نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Today we want to look at a topic that is more or less like a concept. The topic is the face and the gaze. The face and the gaze. The face, F-A-C-E, face, and the gaze, G-A-Z-E, gaze. That is to look at something. Why are we talking about face? What do we need to bring out of this? The concept is taken from the glorious Qur'an, chapter 2, verse 115, and that is where Allah says, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. To Allah belongs the east and the west, and so wherever you turn your faces, there is the face of Allah, and surely Allah is sufficient for His creatures' needs. He is all-knowing. There's something very, very unique and mysterious about this verse. Face and faces, or faces and face. The first faces mentioned there refer to the human faces, all of us. That haisuma fa'ainama tuwallu wujuhakum, wherever you turn your faces for human beings. Then fatamma wajhullah, you find the face of Allah. So we have faces and we have faces of human beings and the face of Almighty Allah. What is the connection between the two? What are the connections between the faces of human beings and the face of Allah? Then, as we look at these connections, how come the face defines our personality? Have you observed that anytime you see a person, the first thing you see is the person's face, or the first thing you look forward to is the face of the person? If somebody should show you a photograph, the first thing you look at is, where is the face? If there's a photograph whose head is cut off, it doesn't look like a photograph anymore. So how come it's this face that defines our personalities? Can we tell a person's character just by looking at the person's face? What are the glances and gazes that attract evil into people's lives? And how can your facial agreement or your facial arrangement, how can it attract what is good? And how can it repel what is evil? Or how can it attract what is evil? Or how can it repel what is good? In what ways have people been destroyed by what they face in family and in life generally? People face hardship, people face things, people confront things. All of these things they face, sometimes it makes them and sometimes it destroys them. And ultimately, how do we sit and see the face of Almighty Allah so that we can save our faces from humiliations, from hurts and from harms? This topic of today, inshallah, is going to treat the Quranic philosophy of human face. Now it looks very simple and very vague, very odd. What do we want to talk about in face? What has the face done to us? So we want us to follow it philosophically and looking at it from the way Almighty Allah has put everything in place in the universe. If we can understand this concept, we explained it very well, Quran chapter 2 verse 115 that we just recited. It's going to open our eyes to see so many things in a different way. In fact, the way you used to see things will be different from what you are going to begin to see from now. If you can just follow this discussion as much as you can. I will only make an attempt, I will make an effort to explain certain things. And if you do not understand some part of it, that means my explanations have not been clear enough. But I want you to just follow me and see what we can learn from this philosophy of human faith vis-a-vis what Allah referred to as wajhullah, the face of Allah. Now, talking about us as human beings, those of you who are looking at me now, you can see me, you can see my face. To appear is to make myself to be seen. If they say I should make an appearance, it means I'm to be seen. So I'm less visible to myself than to other people. In other words, another person can see me from front, from back, from rear, can see my profile simply by changing their observation points, by changing their viewpoint. They can see me all around. But I cannot see myself the way you can see me. Because my eyes are set in this most elevated part of my body, Allah deliberately decided to put the eyes where the head is, because the head is the uppermost of the human body, unless somebody is standing upside down. Now, if the person is standing upright or sitting up, the first part of the person's body that you see should be the face or the head, as it is. And at the front of the head is where you have the eyes. I can only look forward. If I want to look backwards, I have to turn around my head or turn around my body in order for me to see my back. The thing is, I can look downwards, I can look upwards, I can look sideways. No matter how much I look, I can also see my hands, I can see my legs because I can move them forward. But I cannot see my face except with some device. You can see my face better than I can see mine. How can I make an attempt to see my face? Well, I can look into a mirror. But when I look into a mirror, I only see the reflection of my face. I do not see my face in exactitude as it is. The reflection of my face that I can see will be the flipped image of my face. In other words, in the mirror, my right eye will become my left eye, and my left eye will become my right eye if I stand in front of the mirror. At what point can I exactly see my face in blood and flesh as it is? Maybe after I die. But as I'm still alive, I can never see my face the way you can see my face. In other words, if I grasp myself as visible and existent by looking at my own body, this grasp, that is this my look, is refined and deepened under the gaze of other people. You are the ones that can see the true nature of my face, and you are the ones that can make the best meaning of my face, because I am aware that you can see me than the way I can see myself. When I show myself, when I make my appearance, my showing myself and I'm making appearance is an act, is an action. Every manifestation of my face to the eyes of another person is a kind of free gift. That is, my face is my own, it belongs to me. I'm not under any obligation to appear to anyone, but I can grant my appearance when I wish to and to whom I wish. My appearance before you is a gift freely given to you. It's an act of benevolence. I've decided to show my face to you even though I cannot see my own face by myself. So I feel it is a gift for me to bring my face for you to see. But despite that one, we all have faces. The same way I cannot see my own face, that same way you cannot see yours too. I mean, I can see your face better than I can see my own face. So I am also looking at your faces now. It's a gift. Your making an appearance is a gift. Your coming forward or showing your face to be seen is a gift. Despite that one, some faces are very rare to see. Some faces don't see them every time. Maybe the person lives very far, or the person is somewhere or somewhere. Some faces are very common that you see every time. Some faces are very special, and some faces are very sweet. Some faces are desired by everyone. And like I said, some faces are cheap, some faces are expensive to see. Some faces are ordinary faces, and some faces are gang kind of faces. Gang, yes. Well, yes, some faces are gang when you see them like that. But some faces are just ordinary. There's nothing special about seeing their faces. Some people have faces that are bum, like that. I don't know what that means in English. And some faces are When you see them, people just ease when they see their faces. Now you see, faces are not the same thing now. Some faces are a delight to see. You are happy when you see some people's faces. Some faces are symbolic, symbolizing something spiritual, symbolizing something that is good. Some faces symbolize something that are things that are not good. And when it comes to symbolic faces of taqwa, of piety, of goodness, of calmness, of being affable, the Quran describes some people and says, Sima'um fi wujuhihim min athari sujud. That there are these people that you see the marks of their faces, and the marks on their faces resonate the traces of sujud. You see some faces, you see the mark on some faces like that. Simahum, you see the signal, you see the symbol, you see the signs on their faces, the signs that resonate, the signs that radiate the light of sujud. Some other faces you don't see light on it. Some faces are dark, not just in terms of color, but in terms of what it exudes, in terms of what comes out from it, in terms of what you feel when you see their faces. Some faces are scary. When you see them, you are scared, you are afraid. Some faces are very beautiful, and some faces they don't need to wear masks to act horror movies. Some faces are light, some are bright, some are lovely, some are attractive, and some faces are repulsive. This is the way Allah has made most of these things to be. In other words, it's so mysterious how the face sometimes decides and determines almost everything about somebody. In fact, some personalities are so great that we want them to grant us an interview, want them to grant us their face, want to see them. It's a favor on their part to show themselves to us. And if the person enters into a conversation or extends their hand, we so appreciate it because this person's face is a very important face to us. And as some faces are very important, some faces are not very important to us. The appearance of a face is beginning something. It's something that when you show your face to someone, it's as if you are submitting yourself to that person. Yes, to show your face to a stranger is like you surrender yourself to that person. To see is equivalent to taking. When you see something, it's as if it has become yours. It's as if you are possessing it. The way I'm looking at your face is as if I'm taking your faces from you. In children's game of hide and seek, you remember how we used to play those days, hide and seek? Anybody that is seen is regarded as captured in hide and seek. Once I see you, I assume that I've caught you. Yes, I've caught you. You have been caught. You have been captured because I've seen you. And seeing you is seeing your face. So each time I appear in public or you appear in public, you give others a kind of right of your person. Your being is being handed over to them by virtue of your appearance. Just as if you are revealing your name and your occupation and your address and everything, when you show your face, you are also revealing your person and sometimes your own personality. Now, the face, just like the hand, ordinarily presents itself uncovered. We don't cover our hand, we don't cover our faces, and when you have to talk or you communicate with somebody, you actually communicate with your faces submitted to that person, as it were. And then when somebody wants to rob you, you see they cover their faces. Why? So that they will not give themselves to you, so that they will not reveal themselves to you, and so that you will not capture them. So you see, the people want to rob, they cover their faces. Imagine somebody talking to you and turning the back to you. When somebody comes before you and the person wishes to speak to you, you expect the person to face you and talk to you. But when the person turns the back to you and the person says, now let's begin to talk, there's something suspicious about the person's action. You don't feel comfortable that you are speaking to somebody and the person turns the back to you. Even the person says, go ahead, I can hear you. Go ahead, I'm listening. There's something about the face, that the face must be seen and that the person must turn the face to us. So in everyday language of the things that we say, you hear somebody say something like a person faces adversity, or somebody is facing adversity, or somebody is facing a difficulty. Have you heard of that in everyday language? We say somebody is facing a difficulty. We say somebody is facing something squarely, or we say somebody is confronting an enemy, or somebody is confronting a difficult task, or we say somebody has an effrontery. You say you have an effrontery to talk to me. You show an effrontery to address me. Effrontery is a derivative of the word front, and that is the forehead. Or we say you approach something headlong, or you face something squarely. All of this we see in everyday language means we are talking about the face. When you say, I need to see you, or I need to see you for something, what does it mean? It means I require and I request to see your face. I want you to be around. I want you to be available. To see someone is to see the person's face. And if death and burial are so painful to us, they are painful to us because the person's face has been taken away forever from our sight. This is why we feel so bad when somebody dies. That is one of the reasons why we feel so bad. Is we will not have the opportunity of seeing the person's face ever again alive. You can look at the person's photograph, you can watch the person on tape, on video, but you cannot see the person's face again. A living face of that person is gone forever. So the face as we have it now is a manifestation of our personality. It's a manifestation of each and every one of us. In fact, every human face means something. Every human face says something. And this silent declaration perceived by our eyes concerns the very being of everybody. Meaning that, Allah Akbar, we human beings, we are the master of our own expressions, and all sort of deception can come from the face. It can be in form of mimicry. We can reserve our faces. We can reserve what we don't want people to see by virtue of what we show in our faces. The faces have so much meaning to the extent that we can use to deceive somebody. You know, they say looks are deceptive. We can use it to lie to somebody. We can use it to as a means of expression and as a means of hypocrisy. The most hypocrite of all people, do you remember how the prophet described them? The prophet said they have two faces. The person has two faces. One face to this person, one face to that person. In our everyday language, we talk about people with two faces, double faces. Double face means the person has the opportunity and the person has the power to deceive with the face. You come to these people with this face, you go to those people with another face. Now you see the face is getting more dangerous now. Now, being that as it may, the face is a statement. The face is an endorsement. The face goes beyond the bodily structure of a person. The face goes beyond the stature of someone, whether the person is tall or short. The face goes beyond the gesture of that person. The face goes into the gaze of that person. The face is the window and the outreach to others. It's the means of me reaching out to you and you reaching out to me. The face simultaneously is seeing, it is seeable, and it can be seen. And because of that, Almighty Allah in His greatness has put all the five senses that Allah has given to us, at least majority of it is all on this face. Majority of the senses we have, you can find them on our head. The sense of sight is from there. The sense of hearing is right here. The sense of taste is in the mouth via the tongue. The sense of smell is in the nose. It's only the sense of touch that is outside the head. And even with that, there is this correlationship, checking me out and checking you out, that the head and the hands do. I don't think any human being will spend 24 hours without the hand needing to touch the head. for one reason or the other. The hand is so close to the head that you can't spend 24 hours without your hand going there. For one reason or the other, they always check on one another, because this head, as you see it, this is the ethic, the whole thing about what they call physiognomy. There's this study they call physiognomy, that is looking at somebody and trying to read the person's character. Before a child is born, because we cannot see the child's face, we don't count the child as a human being yet. It's until when the child is born, and as soon as the child is born, the first place we like to look at is what? Is the face. Allah knows why. In a normal birth is the head that comes out first. Under normal circumstances, is the head that should come out first. Any other thing apart from that one, it's the doctors know what to do about it. But as soon as the face is coming, or the head is coming out and the face comes out, we may most likely look at the face first. And in some cultures, you know what they look at the face? They want to see who is it that this child resembles, or who is that this child looks like. In other words, a whole big chunk of chromosome, of hereditary features, we look for it via the face. We want to see who does this child resemble. In some cultures, they do. Some other cultures, they don't care. A child can just come out and they are not even bothered about whether the child resembles one person or not. But there's a mysterious disclosure of what the person will be later on in life. The future of a human being is already written in letters of flesh on the person's face. And somehow, when a child is born, we look at the child, we look at the face, we look into the eyes. We want to see some things there. Some things we cannot really explain what we are looking for, but we want to look at the face, we look at the eyes of the child. And as the child begins to grow, we keep looking at the child as if we can see the destiny from the child's face. We look at the shape of the face, we look at the size of the face, we look at the complexion of the face, and we look at the expressions on the face of the child. We are looking forward to see whether we can find a smile, whether we can see what the child is trying to say, whether we can see how the child responds, whether we can see if the child recognizes that it's human beings that are around the child. We want the child to smile, and we want the child to look back at us when we look at the child. We want to see if the eyes are functioning. And then, how do we determine the future of a child? Can you determine the character of a child by looking at the child's face? Yes or no, or yes and no? Some are very deceptive, but some, when you look at some children, something in your mind will tell you that this child is stubborn, or this child is going to be stubborn, or this child is going to be harsh, or this child is going to be mild, or this child is going to be kind, or this child is going to be wicked. I'm talking about the child. I'm not talking about baby per se. I'm talking about the child that is growing. 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, up onto adolescence. By looking at some children's faces, you may have an idea, though it may not be accurate. But some faces do reflect a whole lot of things. If you look at some children's faces, you will be scared what that child will become. And some other children's faces are so affable that you look at the faces and you can imagine how great this child is going to be. But be that as it may, we may be right, we may be wrong. Some children can be deceptive. Some children may have strong faces, but their characters are mild. And some children may have very soft faces, but their characters are wild. We may be sure, we may not be sure, anything can happen. But whatever it is, when the person grows old, you get to see on the face of the old man or the old woman. What do you see on the face? You see signs of numerous events. So many orishirishi things that the person had witnessed in life. Some of them become saggy, some of them become baggy, some of them you see so much wrinkles all over the place. When you see such in the face of an old person, you can even imagine that yes, this person has seen a whole lot in their lives. Sometimes our faces reflect our ages, how old or how young we are, and sometimes it can be deceptive in case of some other people. And Allah knows best about that. Now you are beginning to see that a whole lot of things are written on our faces. A whole lot of things are on our faces. Some people can determine what is wrong with you when they look at your face by virtue of the things that you reflect on your face, by virtue of the facial expression that you display. Somebody can see that you smile, somebody can see that you frown, somebody can see that you are bewildered, somebody can see that you are scared, somebody can see that you show affection, somebody can see that you are angry, somebody can see that you are pleased. Somebody can see, but does it always reflect what we truly feel and who we truly are? Some people are masters in twisting and confusing the people by twisting their faces to reflect what is not inside them. And some people are very sincere and honest. Whatever thing they feel, you quickly see it on their faces. Now, how do we look at it vis-a-vis our identity? I'm going to ask you this question. Which of these will reflect my identity more? The truth of my identity, my reflection, the reflection of my face in the mirror, or my shadow that you can see on the floor? Which of them reflects my personal truth some more? Well, the shadow also reflects a part of me, because the shadow will always cast what I look like. But what about the mirror? The mirror seems to show a lot more about my identity, more than my shadows will. But both of them reflect something about who I'm supposed to be, my identity. How do you identify me? My identity is just like my name, but it's like when you put a name to my face, it's just like the name you give to me, and my name and my face, after a while, they merge together. Sometimes the name you call a child will begin to look like the face of that child. Sometimes the face of a child will begin to reflect the name that you call that child. In matters of identity, to know me is to be able to know my face vis-a-vis my name, because my face is the most expressive part of my person. My face is myself. It is ordinarily enough to distinguish me from any other person. I may share a name with one person, I may not share a face with somebody. No matter how much I resemble someone, even if we are twins, if you look very deeply, there will be a difference in us that distinguish this person's face from this person's face. Identity card and passport will carry my photograph, so that you can be able to place my face with my name. The way my fingerprints are different from that of those of any other person, that's the same way my face is different from that of any other person. My face is my identity. In some cultures, they use tribal marks for identity. In wider Africa, we have places where tribal marks are still being given now as a mark of identification. They say this is a mark of somebody from royal family, mark of somebody from family of warriors, mark from somebody, people of nobility, and so on and so forth. In fact, they have some marks for those they refer to as slaves. Now, there's this thing about the face and the gaze. The face is, the eyes as we have it, is an organ, and the biologists can make an anatomical and physiological study of, but the gaze is not an organ. In fact, the face may be an object, but the gaze is not an object. It cannot be expressed in a definition. It is not an organ, but the gaze is an act of an organ. The face or the eyes can be objectified, but the gaze cannot be objectified. It can only be looked at with subjectivity. What do you mean by this? The gaze cannot be held. The face can be held. In fact, the gaze seems to have some powers. The gaze seems to have a life of its own. The gaze is a living thing. The gaze is so powerful, much more powerful than the face itself. In fact, if you look at the possessive power of the gaze, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands in the Qur'an. Allah says, Kullil mu'minin, say to the believers, يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, that they should lower their gazes. Allah didn't say lower your face. Allah said lower your gaze, because the gaze is powerful. وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ, and tell them they should guard their chastity. ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ, because this is purest for them. إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ, Allah will give them the news of everything they do. Note this very attentively. There's a connection between the gaze and other part of the body, because the gaze can go wild if it is not controlled. The gaze must be controlled, and Allah commands the believing servants of His. Allah says, "Qul lil mu'minin," say to the believers, this is a serious matter. Say to those who believe in me that they must lower their gaze. Now, if it so happens that the person's gaze unintentionally falls upon something that's forbidden, he should quickly look away from that, because there's this thing that is called the sudden glance. The sudden glance, that is accidental gaze. And Muslim recorded in his Sahih that Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I asked the Prophet of Allah about the sudden glance, and the Prophet ﷺ commanded me to turn my gaze away. In other words, harness your gaze, hold on to your gaze, because your gaze can be very dangerous. It can be difficult to control. Now, alongside with this, it is as if the gaze is like a wild animal. If you don't harness it, it's going to go wild. The gaze is what we must learn to tame as believers. Let me give you this example. The Prophet ﷺ, knowing fully well that the gaze is very wild and difficult, the Prophet ﷺ said, you must avoid certain situations and locations that can make your gaze to go wild. And what are those? The Prophet ﷺ said, from one Sahih, it is narrated, Abu Sa'id said that the Messenger of Allah said, Iyyakum wal julusa ala turuqat. Beware of sitting in the streets. Beware of sitting in the streets. He was warning them. Beware of sitting in the streets. Then said, the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, we have no alternative but to sit in the street. We talk with one another, we gist, we relax in front of our houses, or sometimes we meet in the street and we just stay there and relax. The Prophet ﷺ said to them that in abaitum, now if you insist that you must sit in the street or street outside or sit somewhere to gist, fa'tu tariqa haqqa, you must give the streets its rights. They said, Ya Rasulullah, what are the rights of the street, O Messenger of Allah? And Prophet said, the rights of the streets are as follows, and you must abide by them. Number one, gaddul basara, you must lower your gaze, control your gaze if you must be in the street. Wakafful adha, you should remove your hand from doing harm unto others. Waraddu salam, and return greetings when people greet you. Wal amru bil ma'ruf, and enjoy what is good. Wal nahyu anil munkar, and forbid what is evil. If you can abide by all of these, then you can stay in the street. What was the Prophet trying to teach them? He was trying to make them understand that the gaze can be very wild. Unless you are ready or you know how to learn to control your gaze, avoid staying in places and locations where your gaze will go wild. What do you see in the street? What do you see? You see all sorts of things. You see all sorts of things. You see all sorts of people. You see all sorts of faces. And these things are dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Let me tell you this hadith of Abul Qasim al-Baghawi. He recorded that Abu Umama said, I heard the Messenger of Allah say, Ukfulu li sittan, akfulu lakum bil jannah. Guarantee me 6 things, I will guarantee you paradise. And they said, Ya Rasulullah, what are these 6 things? The Prophet said, Idha haddatha ahadukum fala yakdhib. Number 1, when any of you should talk, don't lie. When you talk, don't lie. When you talk, don't lie. Do you know what? This talk we are talking about comes from this head. Number 2, وَإِذَا تُمِنَ فَلَا يَخُنْ. Whenever people put their trust in you, don't betray them. A whole lot of betrayal come from this place. including the head, where you use in thinking and hatching every ways of betraying somebody. Number 3, وَإِذَا وَعَدَ فَلَا يُخْلِفْ. Whenever you promise somebody, don't break your promise. Number 4, وَغَضُّوا أَبْصَارَكُمْ. Lower your gaze, control your gaze. And number 5, وَكُفُّوا أَيْدِيَكُمْ. Restrain your hands. And number 6, وَاحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَكُمْ. Guard your private parts, protect your private part, protect your chastity. There's something that is very serious about this. Looking is what provokes the hurt to evil. It is your gaze that constitutes one of the inroads of evil into the heart. Allahu Akbar. Now look at this. There's this connection between the gaze and the private part, just like the Prophet put it. Let me give you this other connection. You know what the Prophet said? The Prophet said, Ya ma'shara shabab, oh you young people, man istata'a minkum al-ba'a. Any of you that is old enough and can afford to get married, falyatazawwaj, let him get married. Why? فَإِنَّهُ أَغَضُّ لِلْبَصَرِ, because this is what will make him to lower his gaze. وَأَحْصَنُ لِلْفَرْجِ, it will also help him to protect his private part, protect his modesty. Did you see that connection? Prophet mentioned lowering the gaze as an aid to people protecting their modesty. And Prophet said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصَّوْمِ فَإِنَّهُ لَهُ وَجَاءٌ. And anybody who is not able to do this, who is not able to get married, let him fast, because the fasting will be a shield for him. And the scholars explain to us that part of fasting is for a person to lower his gaze and protect his chastity. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar kabira. Let me tell you more of the power of the gaze, the power of what we see. It sucks us up. We become the slave of what we see. What you have not seen may not really be a problem to you, but what you see becomes your slave, or you become its slave. Language offers numerous expressions that will show us the possessive power of the gaze. If you say, I have an eye on something, what does that mean? I have an eye on something. Or I have my eyes on you. What does that mean? It means my gaze has captured you, and then what I can see has also captured me. Our gaze upon things is deeply ambiguous, so ambiguous and mysterious to the extent that when you seek to master the object is also seeking to master you. Let me give you an example of a child that has a toy. A child has a toy and the child loves this toy a lot. Who belongs to who? Is it the child that belongs to the toy, or the toy belongs to the child? Who possesses who? The child possesses the toy, or the toy possesses the child? The child will think that he is possessing the toy, but in reality is this toy that is possessing the child. After a while, that child will not sleep until he is holding on to his toy like this. If you should take the toy from the child will cry. And after a while, the child becomes attached to that toy to the extent that he will never want to let it go. Incidentally, the child will soon become a slave of that toy, not the other way around. And that's the same thing with most of the things we covet, most of the things that we treasure, most of the things that we want to master. When we begin to want to master something and we gaze at it, once you continue to look at that thing, it develops a right over you. What you look at over and over will soon possess you, because you want to possess it, and in the process it ends up possessing you. People who look at women too much, for example, they think they want to possess the woman by casting their gaze or their glance on the woman. After a while, they become a slave of that woman. The same way around. When a woman wants to possess a man, I want that man, I must get that man, you end up becoming a slave of that man. Because in order for you not to lose what you have glanced at, what you have gazed at, the gaze will suck you in and will enslave you by virtue of what you look at, and then you become a slave of that. You want to see it every time. If I may ask you, we all have this toy in our house, the phone. You have it in your pocket. You go to the market to buy the phone because you want to possess the phone. After a while, the phone possesses you. Some people will even go to the toilet with their phones. You become a slave of that phone. If the phone is missing from you for 5 minutes, you are no longer yourself. You begin to wonder, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my... You even see somebody crying when their phones are lost. And some people will be so sad, so morose throughout the day. You say, what happened? Say, I lost my phone. Somebody stole my phone. Allahu Akbar Kabira. Allahu Akbar. Do you see the power of the gaze? You want to possess it and it possesses you. If you want to free yourself, lower your gaze. In fact, don't just lower your gaze, protect your gaze. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said to us, and that's what the Quran says. Not protecting the gaze has led human beings to so many countless evil, so much immoral acts because they cannot lower their gaze. It has led to so much disgrace. It has led to so much humiliation. It has led to so much hopelessness. It has led to so much inclination towards evil lifestyles, and sometimes it has led to death, spiritual death. A man that looks lustfully at women, or a man who looks lustfully at the house help, for example, after a while, no matter how low the servant is to him, he will begin to be enslaved by his looking at her. By looking at her, gradually he soon becomes a slave of his passion. When you have acquaintances in your place of work, colleagues you work with, if you don't lower your gaze, you continue to look at somebody over and over and over. After a while, from acquaintance, it becomes something else. And then what you see will begin to gradually drag you into itself. You think you are attracting the thing, but the thing is one attracting you. After a while, it will remove from you the tazkiyah, the purity, and the innocence of your soul. And that's why the Quran says, Dhalika azka lakum. This is the only thing that can purify you. What will purify you is for you to lower your gaze and look away from whatever thing that is evil, or whatever thing that is conducive towards evil. Now, when people don't do this, when they don't lower their gaze, you see everything that has happened now. Some men have become slaves of women. Some men have adopted the lifestyle of following women up and down. Why? Because he cannot lower his gaze. Because he cannot lower his gaze, it becomes addictive. And this is the evil part of it. He becomes addicted to not lowering his gaze. And the more he continues to do that, the more he becomes a slave of flesh. The more he becomes a slave of passion. The more he becomes a slave of lust. The more he becomes a slave of what he sees. If he sees, he will want to attain. When he attains, he will want to achieve. When he achieves, he will want to commit. When he commits, he will die there. It is said from one hadith, An-nazaru sahmu min sihamu shaitan. The look is like one of the arrows of shaitan. When people cast their gazes lustfully, a shot, an arrow from shaitan will be struck, and it will hit them. And when it hit them, it kills them spiritually. They die spiritually. Allahu Akbar Kabir. Allahu Akbar Kabir. And you know what Allah said? Allah says, Ya'lamu kha'inatal a'yun wa ma tukhfi as-sudur. I know the fraud of your eyes, and I know what your hearts conceal. I know. Allah says that. I know the fraud your eyes commit. What are the frauds of the eyes? Gaze. Looking lustfully and looking in directions that are not allowed or halal for somebody. Now look at what the Prophet ﷺ said. I want you to understand this very well, and you must hear this hadith. Now listen to this hadith. The Prophet said in one Sahih, it's recorded, Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, said, Rasulullah said, Kutiba ala ibn Adam khazzuhu min az-zina. the son of Adam has a share of zina that is decreed for him. Adraka dhalika la mahalat. There's no doubt about it. He will commit one of these zina that has been written for him. Vazin al-aynain an-nazar. The zina of the eyes is in the look, the gaze we are talking about. Wazin al-lisan an-nutqu. The zina of the tongue is the speech. Wazin al-udhnain al-istima'a. And the zina of the ears is what you hear. Wazin al-yadain al-batshu. And the zina of the hands is what you touch. When you see, when you hear, when you look, you want to touch. Wazin al-rijlaini al-khutta. And the zina of the two legs is for you to walk to the place where you are going to capture the object of your gaze. And then one nafsu tamanna wa tashtahi. The soul wishes and desires based on what you see. Wal farju yusaddiqu dhalika aw yukadhibu. And then the private part will either confirm it or deny it. All of these things have to do with the power and the danger of gaze. The danger of what you see, what you hear, what you look at, and what you touch. From the glance, from the gaze, the next thing in the heart of Bani Adam is for him to want to reach what he can see. Even when you look at the horizon and it looks beautiful, you want to get there. And when you see something that is beautiful, you want to get it. And you know what the Qur'an now says? In order for us not to overtrust ourselves, the Quran says that kul lil mu'minat, O Muhammad, say to the believing women too, yaghdudna min absarihinna, that they should lower their gazes too. Wa yahfazna furujahunna, they should also protect their private part. Wala yubdina zinatahunna illa ma zahara minha, and they should not reveal their ornaments and their beauties except what naturally and normally shows from there. Why will Allah go to long extents or to that extent of explaining this in detail? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of the weakness of the human mind. And let me tell you something that the Prophet said again. The Prophet said, Iyakum wa dukhulu ala nisa. Be very careful about entering upon women. Be very careful. Iyakum, I'm warning you, don't just enter upon a woman. And somebody now said, Ya Rasulallah, what about the in-law? What about the male in-law? The Prophet said, Walhamul maut. Even that in-law himself is deaf. That male in-law is deaf. There's a limit to which a woman should expose herself, because the glances and the gazes are very powerful. Because people do not follow these principles, that's why you see cases of incest, sleeping with one another. Why? Because they have passed their boundaries. The gaze is much more powerful. When the gaze has reached a certain extent, people begin to behave like animals. When the gaze has been unbridled, not controlled, people will go off their boundaries and they begin to do things that are unimaginable. Now there's something more I want you to learn about this gaze, the power of the gaze. It goes beyond all of these sins that people commit to. It reaches the extent of what we call the evil eye. Allahu Akbar. The evil eye. The evil eye, that's the baleful gaze. The evil eye, the one that sees you and robs you of some good things in you. Some gazes, we are talking about you controlling your gaze from reaching somebody else. Then protect yourself from the gaze of some other people. Some people will look at you and their gazes have to do with evil. Now this is the evil eye. Every person is susceptible to this. Every person has the propensity of being harmed and affected by evil eyes. Some people, just by looking at you like this, a lot of evil things will begin to happen to you and you can't imagine. You can't imagine to what extent you will continue to be harmed, so long as you make yourself, or you bring yourself within the view of people who have evil eyes. If you allow them to gaze at you, a lot of bad things will happen. And the Prophet ﷺ said, evil eye is real. People have evil with their gazes. This gaze is more powerful than what you are thinking about. And those who are going to harm you, it is from the gaze. When they see you, they harm you. That's why I said earlier on that when you present yourself, when you show yourself to somebody, you are submitting yourself to that person. You are committing your life to that person. You are putting everything about you in the hands of that person. Once the person can see your face, that's all. And that's why people who do evil and sorcerers, they only need your photograph. Once they get access to your photograph, there's no amount of evil they cannot do to you because your face is involved. If you had removed the face, they cannot do anything to you. They can't harm you. Nobody harms a faceless body. Allahu Akbar Kabira. Allahu Akbar. What is going on here? And then you see things will suddenly begin to happen. You don't know why it happened. You don't know how it happened. Now let's move on now. Let's leave that evil eye as it is, hoping and believing that we have all understood that you must protect yourself and your family from the glance and the gazes of evil. How do you enrich your gaze? How do you enrich your face when you see something? Sometimes a sick person tries to read in the doctor's face how serious his condition is. Sometimes when the person is sick and the doctor is addressing the person, you want to look at the face of the doctor. When people come to greet you and you are ill, you want to look at their faces for you to have an idea how serious your sickness is. When the doctor comes around and smiles and says, yes, you'll be all right, you'll be all right. That's very reassuring, isn't it? Then what if the doctor comes in and turns his back to you and say, well, inshallah, you'll be all right? What does that mean? Doctor turns his back, doesn't want to see your face and doesn't want you to see his face. Say, I said, madam, just relax, you'll be all right. Nurse, please remember to give her the injection, she'll be all right. Remember to give her the medicine. Are you going to think you really get well? Or when the doctor looks at your face and begins to cry, madam, inshallah you'll be all right. Inshallah you'll be all right. And the doctor is crying. The doctor is crying, even if it's ordinary headache you had, and the doctor is crying, telling you you'll be all right. I don't think you really believe that you'll be all right. In other words, what we see on the face affects the way we feel about the words that come from that face. Your face affects people more than you can ever imagine. Your face is the interpreter of what you say to the people. Your face is expected to be loving, is expected to be faithful. Your face is expected to brighten up the life of other people. Everything about the light in your house comes from your face. The power of smile is there. The Prophet ﷺ was known to smile a lot and advised that even a smile is sadaqah. Let your face be bright, because he wanted to emphasize the importance of the human face, the dignity of the human face, the respect from the human face, the power from the human face. When you smile, everything around you will smile. You can change a person's mood by virtue of your face. You can change a person's life by virtue of your face. You can change a person's destiny by virtue of your face. If we have a baby and we don't smile at that baby will not grow normally. We smile at a baby and the baby smiles back at us. It's a form of reassurance. This baby will grow up to become a normal human being. The power of the face of what we see, it can change your own life too. Your face, the way you carry your face, can change your destiny. It can attract blessings to your life. It can attract favors to your life. It can bring peace to your life. It can attract people into your life. It can sustain people around you. It can also repel people from you. If your face is turned upside down with frown and some looks that are not pleasant, it can keep people away from you. People who want to favor you, they will hold on to their favors. People who want to bless you, they will hold on to their blessings. People who want to come close to you, but because of the way they see your face, they will withhold whatever blessings they have brought for you. They will return their gift back to their pocket because of the look of your face. And many of you do not know, many people do not know that it is because of their faces that they found themselves where they have found themselves now. You say people hate you, You say people don't like you. Haven't you looked into the mirror? Even you might not like yourself. Look into the mirror and you see whether anybody would like a face like this. When every time your face is upside down, you like that. Someone who turn the face somehow as if they forced him to eat cockroach. If your face always look like that of a monkey, people will run away from you. Those of you who carry faces like face of lion, hungry lions, nobody will come close to you. Nobody will want to benefit you. You carry a face as if somebody died. Nobody will bring happy or good news towards you. Bashashatul wajhi atiyatun thaniya wa bushra lisail. Bashashatul wajhi, for your face to be affable, for your face to be approachable. Atiyatun thaniya is the second gift Allah will give to somebody after He has made you to be a believer. The greatest gift for you to be a believer, the second gift is for you to have bashashatul wajhi, faces that are approachable. And just by some distortion or contortion or rearrangement of our faces, we can exude so much of emotions in people. And Allahu Akbar Kabir, when husband and wife are in their homes and did not pay attention to what goes on their faces, it's going to be a very big problem. And I want people to take note of this, and I want you to hold it in your hand as much as possible. Most of the problems you see now is because the husband and wife do not understand what their faces are doing to their marriages. A man comes in and he frowns. What does he expect to meet with the wife? A man comes in and meets the wife, frown. Assalamu alaikum. As if the husband will not be asking, is there any problem? Say, no problem. Is there anything wrong? No, nothing is wrong. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay now. Then why the frown? You say, no, that's just my face. It's my happy face. Excuse me, as in your happy face looks like that, like monkey that you put lime into the mouth. Allahu Akbar Kabir. Then you do the same thing to your husband's friends, you do the same thing to your in-laws, and you say your in-laws don't like you. How would they like you? You want to look serious every time. Nobody will like you. No matter what you keep inside your heart, if your face doesn't reflect it, you are a dark person. Nobody will come close to you. They will just abandon you with your life. People who are in public offices, you work as a receptionist, you stay at the counter to attend to people and you cannot smile, you lose that job. Else people will not come near you. Because there's the power in the eyes, there's the power in the look, there's the power in the way we look, there's the gaze and the appearance. They go hand in hand. If your everyday appearance is wrong, then your gaze will not make anybody to come near you. No amount of makeup can substitute a smile. In fact, a person looks beautiful when they learn how to smile. Now I want you to learn it. Some people's faces naturally they look like mask made of iron. It doesn't shift, it doesn't move, it doesn't reflect any emotion. You don't know whether they are happy or they are sad or they are worried or they are troubled or they are pleased or they are displeased. You don't know what their emotions are. The faces are frozen. You will say something that is funny, he cannot laugh. You say something that is interesting, he cannot smile. You say something that is sad, he cannot cry. You say something that should get somebody angry, he cannot frown. Hello, what kind of life is this? Go and learn how to smile. Even if you are going to learn it in wattage, like I normally say, wattage, you know what I mean? 40 watts of smile, that's the way it is. 60 watts, that's the way it is. 100 watts, that's the way it is. Like that one, how many watts is that one you just showed now? That one I see on your face. That is about 500 watts. Now 1,000 watts. Can anybody give me 1,000 watts of smile? Don't hold it, don't hide it, don't keep it, don't embezzle it, and don't squander it. Know the appropriate smile for appropriate occasion. I know, and I'm saying this authoritatively, that most women get into trouble with their husbands because they don't know how to smile. When something good happens, smile now. If possible, laugh once in a while. It's not haram to laugh when something nice, something pleasant happens. It's excessive one that we have been warned against. Allahu Akbar Kabira. Now, how do you take care of your gaze, brothers and sisters in Islam? In everyday life, concern for our bodily image anticipates and determines the gaze which others will direct towards us. The way you appear will determine the way people will address you. The way you dress is the way you will be addressed. If you come with bright face, people will address you with brightness. If people see your face as a happy face, they will not bring sadness to you unless the person is a sadist. When somebody see you smile, they want to come close. If they are looking for direction, you are the one they will ask. If they are looking for something, you are the one they will ask. If they want to give something to someone, it's the person whose face is approachable that they will come to. And this face, this head you see, is sitting down on a whole lot of the other aspects of our body. In other words, dress well, appear well, and do what is nice with your body. I don't know about you, but I don't think it's a nice idea for a woman to look like a man. You know what I mean by that? A little titivation will beautify your face for you, madam. You know what I mean by titivation? Titivation is like renovation, it's like makeup, it's like makeshift, it's like makeover. I don't think it's such a nice idea for a woman's face to be so bland, looking so plain and ordinary like the face of a man. This is my own opinion. At least if you are not wearing a cap, if your face is open, please display a very good and clean face. I'm not saying that you must wear makeup. I'm saying that let your face be clean. And how clean will your face be? Take care of your face. Use nice cream. It's not haram. Sister, is anybody listening to what I'm saying? It is not. When you say, why am I laughing? I'm laughing because I've seen occasions where a particular lady has so much iman that she used something that is not too different from engine oil to rub her face. You know, I'm just exaggerating. You know, why will a woman rub her face and everything is doing shine like that? What kind of face is that? She said, no, anything can go. I'm not saying you should not use petroleum jelly. There's nothing wrong with it, right? You can use, which other one? If you like, use ororo. Use vegetable oil if you like. If you like, use palm oil if you like. But is it good for your face? Look, brothers, it is not a sign of iman, in my own opinion, for you not to buy a nice cream for your wife. Cream that will make her face to be nice and smooth. You know what the prophet said? Prophet said the best of women is the one of the qualities of the best of women is when you look at her, you are pleased looking at her. Did you hear that? When you look at her, you are pleased looking at her. Now, what of the one that only use ororo vegetable oil to rub her face? Or the one that doesn't know that she should use a good soap? All of these things are knowledge. These are knowledge that Allah has given to Bani Adam. How to manufacture nice soap, how to manufacture nice cream, how to manufacture nice thing you can rub on your face and your face will be very nice. In my own opinion, this is part and parcel of Islam, and a person must ensure that they take good care of their faces, either as a man or as a woman, because the way you show yourself is the way you wish to be seen. Beautify your face, but within the limit of Islam. There's a beautification for indoor and there's beautification for outdoor. When you are inside your house with your husband, there's hardly any limit to which you can rub your face, women. Rub your face, put powder, put this one, rub this one, put one color here, crayon, use it to paint your lips, paint your eyelid, look like a wooden toy. It doesn't matter. Yeah, look like something from fashion shop. It doesn't matter. So long as you are there with your husband like that and it doesn't stop you from performing ablution, go ahead. In fact, get him confused. Look like color TV. It's not haram for you to do that inside the house. And when you are going out, if you are somebody wearing a cup, fine, go ahead. Wear your niqab and go out. Nobody will even see it. But feel good with your face. Feel really good with your face. Not all faces are beautiful like gangan like that. You say, this one is from a magazine. No. But no matter how, forgive me for saying this, no matter how ugly your face looks, you can still take care of it. You can still modify it. You can still rub powder and all of those pimples will disappear. Buy nice cream that will make your body to look smooth and clean. This is very important as far as I'm concerned. This is my own opinion. As our gazes meet, our appearances are manifested to other people that are looking at us. And we are obliged to do that even in Ibadah. Allahu Akbar Kabira. Even in Ibadah. You know what Allah says about ablution? Allah says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu idha qumtum ila salat faghsilu wujuhakum. All you believers, when you get up to pray, wash your faces. I don't know why Allah started with the face. Allah said, wash your faces. Faghsilu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq wamsahu bi ru'usikum wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bayn. And Allah explained other aspects of ablution. After you've washed that face, it is then that you go for salat, and then you put that face on the ground. This is the best position in salat. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ said, the best position you can be in salat, and you speak to Allah and Allah listens to you most, is when your face is on the ground. That part of your body that is most precious to you, if you can put it down to worship Almighty Allah, anything you like, you can tell Allah, then He will listen to you. Now you see, the face is not a joke. The face is very important. The face must be taken care of. Allahu Akbar Kabir. Now let us go finally to one aspect, the face of Allah, the waji'u, as in the attributes of Allah. Allah says, وَلَا تَدِرُ مَا لَا إِلَهًا آخَرَ. Do not worship, call on any other one apart from Allah. La ilaha illahu. There's no one but Him. Kullu shayin halikun. Everything will be destroyed. Illa waj'ahu, except the face of Allah. Lahul hukmu. His is the decision. Wa ilayhi turja'un, and to Him everyone should return. Qur'an chapter 28 verse 88. Everything will be destroyed except the face of Allah. And the Quran says, Quran chapter 55 verses 26 to 27, Kullu man alayha fan. Everything on earth will come to an end, will finish. Wayabuka waji'u rabbika. But what will remain is the face of your Lord, Dhul Jalali wal Ikram, the Lord of full of majesty and honor. In other words, Kullu shayin halikun illa waj'a. Everything will be destroyed except Allah's face. Means that it's only Allah that will remain. In other words, the face of Allah refers to Allah Himself. Now, what can you connect with human face and the fact that Almighty Allah says that the greater thing than being in paradise is seeing His own face? Ila rabbika, ila rabbihim nazira. When the believers will be looking at the face of Allah. This is very symbolic. The symbol is that Allah reserves us seeing His face till when we get to paradise, and He will now introduce Himself to us, and He will appear towards us laughing and smiling with the bright face of Allah that is not like any face we have ever seen before. No wonder then the verse we recited in the beginning as the conceptual framework for this our discussion, no wonder the verse is talking about two faces. The Quran says, Walillahi al-mashriq wal-maghrib. To Allah belong the east and the west. فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا. Anywhere you turn your face, فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. You will find the face of Allah. Allah combined our own face and His own face in one single verse for this singular reason, that when we eventually get to paradise, we are going to see His face. The brightness on our faces will be small compared to what it would be when we eventually see the face of Almighty Allah. Are we not supposed to begin to seek the face of Allah? How do you seek the face of Allah? The Quran says, Laysa al-birra. It is not enough as righteousness antu wallu wujuhakum qibala al-mashriq wal-maghrib, for you to turn your faces toward the east and the west. You remember the Quran says, Wallahi al-mashriq wal-maghrib. To Allah belong the east and the west. This verse, another verse entirely now says, it is not enough as righteousness for you to face the east or the west. Walakinna libirra. But true righteousness is man amana billah, is those person who believe in Almighty Allah wal yawmil akhir, and in the day of judgment. If you want to see the face of Allah, you have to act this righteousness. It's not free of charge. That's why I was telling you in the beginning that some faces you see it every day. Some faces are very rare. Some faces are very cheap. Some faces are very expensive. And some faces are very precious. The face of Allah is precious. You cannot just get it free of charge. You must work for it. You must strive for it. The places where you find Allah are the places where somebody is praying, oh Allah, help me, oh Allah, help me, oh Allah. And then you go there and you make yourself an answer to that person's prayer. You have found Allah. The Quran says, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. There are some people who give food in spite of their love for it. They are generous. They give charity. Ala hubbihi. Even though they love this thing they want to give out, they give to miskinan, they give to the poor, wa yatiman, and to the orphan, wa asiran, and to the captive. While they are giving these things out, what do they say? They say, innama nud'imukum liwajhillah. We are giving you all of these things because we are looking for the face of Allah. Because we seek the face of Allah. La nuridu minkum jaza'an wala shukura. We don't want any thank or gratitude from you. We want Allah to thank us, because Allah says, wa kana sa'yukum mashkuran. I'm going to thank you for all of these things you are doing. Allahu Akbar Kabira, Allahu Akbar Kabira, Allahu Akbar Kabira. We are doing all of these things because we are seeking the face of Allah. If you want to get the face of Allah, seek the face of the humans around you first. Seek the face of Allah in the face of an orphan that is crying for help. Seek the face of Allah in the face of a poor person that is needy, that is hungry. Look at the faces of the indigent. Look at the faces of those who want somebody to make them happy. Look at the faces of those who are in sorrow. Look at the faces of those who are in trouble. Look at the faces of people who are going through trials. Look at the faces of people who are going through some tribulations in their lives. Look at the faces of those who lack one thing or the other, and turn that face around from sorrow to happiness, from sadness to joy. Seek the face of Allah in making somebody else to smile, in letting everything you do constitute a smile in the life of somebody else. Let it be that your life is going to be a life that makes other people's countenances to be glorious. Never you do anything that will bring tears of sadness from the eye of anyone. If you want Allah to show himself to you in the day of judgment laughing, you must make sure you make somebody else's face to laugh. It is simple logic. It's not difficult to understand. If you cannot bring a smile to the face of somebody else, don't expect smile from Allah in the day of judgment. Don't expect to smile in the day of judgment. You cannot. It's not possible. It's not possible. You cannot quench your thirst with somebody else's tears, and you expect to live a happy life. If we bring it to the family now, husband and wife, if you are the man whose habit is making your wife to shed tears of sadness and sorrow, this is the same thing you are going to meet with Allah in the day of judgment. As for the woman who doesn't have anything good to contribute to the life of the husband except sorrow and sadness, this is what we are going to meet with Allah in the day of judgment. The face of somebody else is a mirror through which you see Allah. If you are going to endure with your husband, do it for the sake of Allah. Every tribulation, every problem you go through today, from now on, go through it seeking the face of Allah. If you want to do it to please human beings, you'll be disappointed. Everything that you do from now on, even if you are going to smile at somebody insults you and you smile back, somebody curses you and you pray back, somebody abuses you and you praise the person instead, Allah, because of the face of Allah, Allah will never let you down. Allah will never disappoint you. Innama nut'imukum liwajhillah. If you do it for the face of Allah, even you the husband, your wife is this, she's that, she's not good, she's not. If you continue to do what is good for her, liwajhillah, for the sake of Allah, you are not going to be let down by Almighty Allah in the day of judgment. And lucky you if you have a husband or a wife that has accepted you, that has accommodated you, that is enduring your behavior for the sake of Allah. Anybody that you marry, if you are not married, or anybody that you have married, if you are married already, husband and wife should sit down from now on and begin to do things to seek the face of Allah. Let us fear Allah, because if you make somebody to be sad, Allah will make you to be sad back. Oh Allah, please have mercy on us. The day we are going to stand face to face with Allah, oh Allah, let our own faces be bright and joyous. Oh Allah, give us the opportunity to do what is good in this world, so that when we come face to face with you, we'll be able to gaze at you with joy and happiness. Oh Allah, let it be that the day you are going to meet with us, let it be that we're going to meet with happiness and joy in that day of judgment. Oh Allah, please have mercy on us, and please guide us aright and ease our task, so we can seek Allah and we can see Allah. If we can seek Allah's face, we shall see Allah's face. And whatever thing we look at in this world, our face and our gaze, may Allah let be blessed in this world, and let us also be blessed hereafter. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم أجمعين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.